Hello everybody, I'm George from Ireland. Here I am outside Vanbrugh House in Oxford on St Michael Street. So this is where John Vanbrugh lived when he was building Blenheim Palace 8 miles north of here. John Vanbrugh was born in London in 1664. He was partly of Flemish extraction on his father's side, so because it was been derived from Vanbrugh, as in from the bridge. People often said Dutch. Of course, Belgium wasn't a distinct country back then. It was all part of the Netherlands until 1830. But he didn't speak that language. It's a few generations earlier. So there's some debate about what his father was. Was he a sugar boiler, sweet maker sort of thing? Was he a cloth merchant? It's unclear. They were middle class of some kind, but he did have some aristocratic in-laws. Anyway, so Vanbrugh, when he was very small, John Vanbrugh, they moved to Chester. His father soon died. His mother remarried, had 12 children with a second husband. I think there were 4 children from the first marriage. So that was not that unusual in those days. So Vanbrugh was clearly quick at his books, considering what he achieved later on. He was a real polymath, a man of most extraordinary range of talents. Some people speculate he went to King's School Chester, a school which once rejected me for a job. Must be a good place. My housemaster went there yonks ago. But that's not actually recorded. He went there. There's also some speculation about which school he went to, what he was doing in his late teens, early 20s. We don't know. But he's known for being a playwright, and he's known for his highly unusual views. He's very advanced at the time, thinking that women ought to have legal personality, because then they went by the principle that a man and his wife were one flesh, like according to St. Paul and so forth. So a woman was controlled by her husband until she got married, and then any property, by her father until she got married, and then any property she happened to own was up to the husband. He could sell it, he could give it away, he could destroy it. She'd get no compensation. She had actually no control over this. She couldn't own anything separately, have a separate bank account, whatever. Now, I mean, if her father was dead and her husband was dead or had no husband, then yes, she was legally independent. As they used to say, the grief of marriage was worth it for the joys of widowhood. And so then there might be some handsome suitors looking for a prosperous youngish widow. Right, but on to Vanbrugh. So writing a number of well-appreciated plays in the late 17th century, associated with the Whig parties. He was one of those who conspired to overthrow James II. Vanbrugh was part of the Church of England, and he didn't want James II, who was a Roman Catholic reigning over Ireland, England, Wales, and indeed Scotland, conspired to get someone who was half Dutch, William of Orange, Stadtholder of the Netherlands, to come in, who was the son-in-law and nephew of James II. How is it possible for William III to be both the son-in-law and the nephew of James II? Well, that's because he married his cousin. William III married his first cousin, Mary, as in who was the daughter of James II. So I won't tell you that whole story, but that's why on the 5th of November 1688 there was the landing at Tor Bay, and Willem van Oranje came over, James II fled, the rest is history, okay? So then he was obviously in favour that having succeeded Vanbrugh, who hadn't supported Monmouth's rebellion 3 years earlier, when the natural son of Charles II had tried to overthrow his uncle. Right, so coming back to Vanbrugh, so apart from his well-appreciated plays, which were actually quite raunchy for the day, how to put it, like lascivious in content, salacious, then he was really well known as an architect. And so some people know him as an architect, some people know him as a playwright. A lot of people don't realise that he was both. So he's obviously mathematically gifted. He had no formal training as an architect. There were no qualifications. If you said you're an architect, you were one. These things weren't regulated to the 19th century. So obviously, but if you didn't know what you're doing, the building could collapse and kill everybody. So it's extraordinary that he managed to get these commissions and execute these enormous buildings. Okay, most celebrated for Blenheim Palace, for Sir John Churchill, later Duke of Marlborough, is called that because of the Battle of Blindheim in Bavaria. Blenheim, it was rendered into English as, defeating the Bavarian and French forces at the start of the 18th century under Queen Anne. So that is Winston Churchill's ancestor. The Churchill family had come from Oxfordshire. Well, there's a village called Churchill. The family's named after the village, not the village after the family. Moved one west to Wiltshire in the early Middle Ages, been minor landowners of no particular note. It's only Sir John Churchill really made their name. And Sir John's sister was the mistress of King James II, had children with him, and that's why he got, part of the reason he got promotion. He had defeated the Duke of Monmouth's rebellion, in 1685, and then turned his coat when he was sent to defeat William of Orange, and that was crucial in ensuring that that James II felt necessary to flee to his friend, King Louis XIV of France. But anyway, for these victories, he was granted lots of money. John Churchill decided to build this palace, the only non-royal, non-episcopal palace in the United Kingdom. What else about him? So yeah, he didn't live to see it completed. So I just think, when did Vanbrugh die? He died in the 1730s, if memory serves. I don't remember where he's buried. He was married, he had children. He also built Castle Howard in North Yorkshire. And I can't remember which aristocratic family has that. It's not, is it the FitzAlan Howard? It's not the Duke of Norfolk. I mean, I knew a boy who lived there. He was at Ampleforth. Now, and that featured in that film, that 1981 television series of Brideshead Revisited, where it stands in for Brideshead. But Brideshead, that stately home, fictive stately home, is meant to be in the West Country. It's not in Yorkshire. Because if you read the novel, you'll see they always departed from London from Paddington Station going to the west, but they happened to film Castle Howard in Yorkshire as in belonging to the Howard family, and a number of other stately homes he built. I don't know much about architecture. Is it Palladian? Is it Baroque? And things with columns, like neoclassicism was at its height then. So that is John Vanbrugh, and that is where he lived when he had to go to superintend the construction as well as having drawn up the plans. Okay, thanks for watching my channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon, donate to PayPal, georgecallahan79@gmail.com. Toodaloo.